Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be reading a multi-character listener by me. So let's get into it. Midoriya Izuku. Midoriya has never experienced such a situation before. Despite being a pro hero and having seen many things, yes, he has seen people be almost kidnapped, but none of them were ever this close to him. Emotionally. You were his lover after all, and you meant the world to Midoriya. That would be something that would always hold true. But seeing you in this position, it made him panic. It could destroy him entirely. And that's why he didn't know what to do. Feeling frozen. But he knew, if only for a moment before he just went into action. It took everything within him to remain in control, to remain stable as he fought this fight. He had to be careful not to injure you in the process of getting you back. He had to be careful to only hurt your kidnapper. And there was nothing else that he could do. He couldn't risk hurting you. He couldn't risk doing anything to you that could harm you. And that's why it took longer than it should have. But in the end, you were there in his arms. And he was almost struggling to try and breathe properly, holding you so close and so tightly. I'm here, Izuku. I'm right here. Everything will be fine. You tell him, trying to reassure him even though you were scared yourself. You had been through a lot. It was terrifying. An experience you would never want to repeat. Something that you just want to forget. And hope it never happens to you again. And right now as Midoriya held you, you could tell that 100 thoughts were going in his mind. He looked you over even though you tried to convince him that you were uninjured. Completely fine. But he was still panicking, trying to make sure that you were okay. So you had to hold him, stopping him, holding his wrists. Izuku, look at me, please. And he does, pausing within his steps. And as you hold him, you tell him those words. I'm safe, and I'm okay. You saved me. So there's no reason for you to be scared anymore. Everything will be alright. You just have to trust me and believe me right now. Okay? And even if you hadn't stepped in at the right time, do you really think I would have let him take me? I would have struggled, obviously. And maybe it wouldn't have worked. But I promise you, you're not getting rid of me that easily. I would never want that, Mayan. He says, burying his face into your neck, as you stroke his hair gently, kissing his cheek. He's everything you've ever wanted and loved. And seeing him be so afraid for you was not a sight that you loved. You would much rather see him happy and feeling like there's nothing to worry about, because that's how things are supposed to be. Bakugou Katsuki. Katsuki was not someone that was easily shaken. So, seeing you in this position, it's something that was done deliberately to try to get a reaction out of him. It was the League of Villains, and most of all, they wanted him. They wanted him to join their side. So getting you and trying to kidnap you, it was a good way. It was a good way to get him to negotiate and maybe make a deal with him. Keep him in line by having you. But it didn't work when you caught them in the act. He'd managed to stop her, Toga. She wasn't really that good. No match for him, obviously. That's what he said. But it was obviously difficult. It was beyond difficult, and you were already injured. Blood dripping down your clothes as you screamed, trying to push her away. You were shot by a quirk suppressant. You couldn't use your own quirk, having no means to defend yourself, and the only thing you could do was watch as Katsuki struggled to free you, to get you back. It took a lot of fighting, and it almost took everything within him. You could feel how he was so anxious, how he was trying to calculate everything within his brain and try to defeat her. By the end, Toga had given up on her mission to try and get you, knowing that there was no chance she would be able to do it. Not to mention, she had sustained pretty heavy injuries herself as well, so she knew she had to back away at the moment. And right now, what mattered was getting back to the league safe. And as she let you go, leaving, Katsuki felt himself calm down, going over to you. Sure, he was panicking, but not as much. He had time. You were hurt, but there was time to get you back to recovery, girl. You would be okay. That's what he liked to believe. He has seen far worse, and you were resilient and strong. And true were his words, because he took you back, and you got better soon. It took you 2 days to wake up again. And he was holding your hand, seated by your bed, and looking at you. How are you feeling? I'm alright, I think. Katsuki, have you been here the entire time? You ask him, and he nods, looking away. He has no idea how much his words had melted your heart, because then you tear up, and he's holding you. You're such an idiot sometimes. Maybe I am, you say with a soft smile, and then he kisses you, holding you close, wanting to feel your heartbeat, the warmth emanating from your body, everything and every sign that told him that you are alive and well, awake, here. And he knows he won't let anything like that ever happen to you again. He surely does become overprotective after this, but it was for the greater good. That's what he tells himself.